This Norwegian person from the Norwegian government has the name Emilie Enger Mehl, and that is the same last name Enger as for a friend of my non-biological mother. And this friend of my non-biological mother with his last name Enger has the front name Elisabeth, which is the same front name as for my biological mother and my biological grandmother on my mother's side. This friend of my non-biological mother with the front name Elisabeth and the last name Enger, she looks like Ellen DeGeneres. In addition, they have the same sensitivity level. So this Norwegian celebrity with the name Emilie Enger Mehl and with the last name Enger as for the friend of my non-biological mother, she has a mother with the name Ellen Enger. And that is connecting the friend of my non-biological mother with the last name Enger, which looks like Ellen DeGeneres, to Ellen DeGeneres. The whole name of the mother of Emilie Enger Mehl is Ellen Enger Møller, and that is the same last name as for Lillian Møller, this Norwegian celebrity. When I am saying that she is a Norwegian celebrity, I am referring to her nationality because I think that she is more internationally known. And for both of their last names, there is 2 dots above the U, and that is not very normal to use in Norway, which really highlights that these 2 people should be connected together because of their last name Muller. The height of Lillian Møller is 173 centimeters, and that is a height which is connected to the Thomsen family. So I do not know the age of the friend of my non-biological mother with this name Elisabeth Enger, but when I am searching for the name Elisabeth Enger on the internet, a person from Drammen appears, and she is the exact same age as Ellen DeGeneres. So I don't know, what are you saying? Are you saying that the friend of my non-biological mother with this name Elisabeth Enger is the twin of Ellen DeGeneres? This other person with the name Elisabeth Enger is the municipality director of Drammen. The municipality Drammen is located close to the capital of Norway, which is Oslo. Yeah, and the capital of Norway, which is Oslo, is named after my biological last name Olsen. This friend of my non-biological mother with his name Elisabeth Enger also has another last name. And I do not want to say that last name because I think that this is too much information. A person I went to college together with, which went a slightly different study, but we had some common classes. He had the same last name as this other last name of Elisabeth Enger, and his front name was Hugo, and that is the same front name as for my non-biological uncle Paul Hugo. And when I'm saying that he went a slightly different study, what I mean by that is that he studied mechanical and I study process. So slightly different is maybe not the right word to use, but you get my point. But why does this person, which I went to college together with, and my non-biological uncle both have the name Hugo? What is up with that? Is it like the perfume, Hugo Boss? Is that name somehow connected to that perfume? I don't know. According to the information about Hugo Boss, that is more of a clothes brand. Yeah, I don't know. And apparently one of the shops selling Hugo Boss has the name Frederick and Louisa, and that is assumed to be the name of my smart and sensitive father Frederick, and a smart and sensitive aunt with the name Louisa Angelica. So I recently said in a post that a friend of my non-biological mother has the last name Enger, which is the same last name as for the celebrity Emilie Enger. Then I said in between four walls that the friend of my non-biological mother with his last name Enger looks like Ellen DeGeneres. Then this video appeared on my For You page on TikTok.
In America, I made two women laugh in an elevator simply with my face. I walked in, right? I walked in and they started, two 50-year-old women, and they were proper, huge laughs. And I said, what are you giggling at? And this woman looked at me and went, Sugar, has anyone ever told you you look like Ellen? And honestly, you've never heard it. It was like just bouncing off the walls. I look like a charming lesbian, I didn't realise.
Yeah. Well, you've got a nice look about you. You look friendly.
What I have learned is that you people are bad to look for similarities, but you people know each other and you know who is in family with who. So when you are saying that this person looks like Ellen DeGeneres, that is likely to be because you know that this person is in the biological family with Ellen DeGeneres. According to the height information about Ellen DeGeneres and this other person with the name Russell Howard, which looks like Ellen DeGeneres, there is 1 centimeter in between them, but probably that height is 1 centimeter wrong for one of them, so that it is either a twin height in between them or 0 centimeters. If I remember this correctly, I think that the height which was given for Ellen DeGeneres earlier was 170 centimeters, while now it is 171 centimeters. The height which is given for Russell Howard is 172 centimeters. But if Ellen DeGeneres is 170 centimeters, while Russell Howard is 172 centimeters, while being much younger than Ellen DeGeneres, that indicate that they might not be that close in family, even though they look very much like each other. So I do not know if I can trust those heights. because each time you produce twins, the height reduces with 2 centimeters for one of the twins, and you're likely to have produced more twins before Russell Howard was born than before Ellen DeGeneres was born, because she is older. Alternatively, your genetics can follow a part of the family tree where they produce less twins. And for that reason, it is possible that a person of a younger age have a higher height in that same family tree. Or if you follow the genetics of the highest of those twins in the family tree, that 2 centimeter decrease for one of the twins does not matter. Russell Howard and Ellen DeGeneres is both registered as comedians in this information page, and that is connecting them closer together. The sister of my biological grandmother on my biological father's side is 169 centimeters, and that is a twin height below the height of 171 centimeters. The height of 171 centimeters is the height which is currently given for Ellen DeGeneres. My biological mother and my biological grandmother on my mother's side is assumed to be 168 centimeters, and that is one twin height below the height of 170 centimeters, and it is 2 twin heights below the height of 172 centimeters. I think that the height of Ellen DeGeneres was earlier given to be 170 centimeters, while the current height for Russell Howard is 172 centimeters. The height of the wife of Ellen DeGeneres is 173 centimeters, and even though that is 2 twin heights above the height of 169 centimeters, that is assumed to be another height which comes in to my biological family skanke. So that Ellen DeGeneres is not in the biological family with her wife, because I assume that they know who is their biological family, and that they are not together with their biological family in a relationship. Patria DeRossi and Ellen DeGeneres is both using the middle name Lee. I have talked about the name Lee earlier, so what is up with the fact that they both are using this name? So it could be that Russell Howard and Ellen DeGeneres have their height from 2 different families, so that their height is not related. So that the height which is given for Russell Howard is correct, and that this height is 2 twin heights above the height of my biological mother and my biological grandmother on my mother's side. The height of my biological mother and my biological grandmother on my mother's side is assumed to be 168 centimeters, while the height which is given for Russell Howard is 172 centimeters. While the height of Ellen DeGeneres might also be correct, and that this height is 171 centimeters, which is a twin height above the sister of my biological grandmother on my father's side, which is 169 centimeters. But even though Russell Howard and Ellen DeGeneres might have the height from 2 different families, they are probably still in a biological family, because they look like each other. But somehow I feel that Russell Howard also should be connected to the biological family of my biological half-brothers because of his appearance. Ellen DeGeneres is connected to the Thompson family because of her wife Patria Di Rossi. While Russell Howard is 172 centimeters, and that is 1 or 2 twin heights above the height of some of these people in the Thompson family. And then I am referring to the height of 168 and 170 centimeters. Basically, the world consists of a few popular and biological families, and somehow they are related to each other one way or the other. If Ellen DeGeneres is 171 centimeters and she is a twin height above the sister of my biological grandmother on my father's side, she is probably also in the biological family with Oprah Winfrey, which is 169 centimeters, and they both have their own talk show. So what is up with that? So that is another reason why Ellen DeGeneres might be 171 centimeters, because that is a twin height above Oprah Winfrey, which might be her sister, I don't know. That is another reason for why Ellen DeGeneres should be 171 centimeters, because that is a twin height above Oprah Winfrey, and they both have their own TV show. And they are both maybe the 2 most visible people on this entire planet. Russell Howard is together with a person with the name Cyrus Morgan, and that is the same last name as for Diana Morgan, and Diana Morgan is assumed to be my biological aunt. And just like Diana Morgan, Russell Howard is connected to my biological mother's side because of his height, which means that his partner, Cyrus Morgan, is probably not more than the half-sibling or something like that of Diana Morgan. If I assume that Diana Morgan is in the biological family of Cyrus Morgan because of their last name, Diana Morgan is also assumed to be connected to my biological father's side, but then to the height of 157 centimeters because of her appearance, while Russell Howard is connected to the height of 169 centimeters through Ellen DeGeneres. And he might not be in the biological family of that height himself. And the height of 169 centimeters is also found on my biological father's side, but they do not need to be connected. It is not very specific to say that the appearance of Diana Morgan is connected to the height of 157 centimeters. because just one term further down in the biological family tree, and that appearance can be connected to a total different height. But I, my biological father, my biological grandmother, and my biological great-grandparent from my biological family Skanke is assumed to look like our biological family Skanke. My biological father, my biological grandmother, and one of my great-grandparents in my biological family Skanke all have the height of 157 centimeters. Or the height of my great-grandparent in my biological family Skanke could be 159 centimeters, but that height is still related to the height of 157 centimeters. It is just that the height reduces with 2 centimeters for one of the twins each time you produce twins. Therefore, the characteristic look of my biological family Skanke is connected to the height of 157 centimeters. But yeah, as long as my great-grandparent in my biological family Skanke has that look is probably found amongst every height, but the term of the family, which led to the production of my biological father and me, is probably a bit more important. And just like Diana Morgan, Russell Howard is connected to my biological mother's side because of his height, which means that his partner, Sirius Morgan, is probably not more than the half-sibling or something like that of Diana Morgan. And since Sirius Morgan is probably not connected to Diana Morgan on my biological mother's side, they are probably connected on my biological father's side. Which means that the last name Morgan is probably connected to my biological father's side as well. So then the question is the last name Morgan connected to the front name of Morgan Freeman? Because his front name is the exact same name as the last name Morgan. The mother of Ellen DeGeneres has the name Betty DeGeneres, and the name Betty is the same name as for the character Ugly Betty, which is a character which is supposed to have been made based on my twin Anna. Because my twin Anna Katrine Vik Mathiassen has a double T in her last name Mathiassen, just like as in the front name of Ugly Betty. In addition, our biological grandmother, our biological mother, and our biological cousin has the name Elizabeth, and the shortening for the name Elizabeth might be Betty. The whole name of the character Ugly Betty is Betty Suarez, and that is the same ending of the last name Suarez as for DeGeneres in Betty DeGeneres. And the last name of Betty Suarez starts with a S, as in my two biological last names, Skanke and Strand. And I was put into the hospital with a person with the name Susanne, and that starts with S-U, as in Suarez. And she looked very much like Mary-Kate and Ashley, so she might be my biological sister or something like that. In addition, I have a biological half-brother with the name Magnus, and that is S-U backwards in the end of that name. Yeah, and they also made a love story between me and a person with the name Magnus. For the first thing, I did not make that love story. For the second thing, that has nothing to do with the fact that I have a biological brother with the name Magnus. I do not connect people together because of their name, no. And by that I mean that I do not think that a person has a higher value because this person has a specific name, but I do in fact connect people together because of their name, because I am studying genetics. And names are of relevance, yes, but yeah, it depends on what you mean, you know. But the fact that you people think that I have picked out someone with the same name as my biological brother because it is the same name as my biological brother, and then make a love story, that is rather disgusting. I also worked with a person with the name Susan from America, and I don't know, maybe she is in a biological family, and for that reason she could come this close to me. Because, you know, I also work together with my biological aunt Ragnhild. And just like for the name Susanne, the name Susan starts with S-U. And you know, the character Betty Suarez was played by America Ferreira, and Susan was from America. With that said, the television series Ugly Betty was sent on the television before I started working as an engineer, where I worked together with Susan from America. Maybe Susan is in my biological family, and for that reason she could come this close to me, because I also work together with my biological aunt Ragnhild. So it seemed to be the case that many of these people which I am in contact with is from my biological family, or another popular and biological family which is not in my biological family. The whole name of America Ferreira is America Georgine Ferreira. That is connecting the name Georg to the name Jørgine, and Jørgine Vassestrand is assumed to be my biological cousin. And it seemed to be the case that I am Peppa Pig, and Peppa Pig has a little brother with the name Georg. Another reason for why I should be Peppa Pig is that George Clooney has a sister with the name Adelia with the nickname Ada, and that is similar to my name Madeleine, and in Peppa Pig has a little brother with the name Georg. Also, I had a friend with the name Georg when I went to college. Maybe Georg is this person on TikTok with this name Georg, which is very popular because I think that he is younger than me, and Georg is supposed to be my little brother, so I don't know. He is too fucking popular to not be part of some important and biological family. His name is Georg Kaywood, and he is 28 years old. Because even though they just plan to produce approximately 10 children from my biological father, something happened a little more than 20 years ago, because there is a lot of people which is a little more than 20 years and which are celebrities. However, he could also be my biological brother on my biological mother's side, but he seemed to be 183 centimeters, which imply that he can just be my biological brother on my mother or my father's side, because my biological mother is assumed to be 168 centimeters, while my biological dad is assumed to be 157 centimeters. Or I do not assume that my biological father is 157 centimeters. I am pretty fucking sure about that. So it seemed to be the case that the name Georgine of America, Georgine Ferreira, is closely connected to my biological family. In addition, she is 155 centimeters, which is a twin height below my biological father. Therefore, I think that she is a biological cousin. In addition, America Ferrera played the role of my twin, which implied that she is probably not placed so far out in my biological family tree. But the fact that she might be my biological cousin seems reasonable. The mother of Ellen DeGeneres with the name Betty DeGeneres has a grandmother with the name Pauline Skunke, and that is very similar to the last name of my biological family, Skanke, and the side of the family which Ellen DeGeneres might have gotten her height from. However, this is the official information, but even the official information is connecting Ellen DeGeneres to my biological family, Skanke. Even though this might be information which they are trying to hide. But considering the popularity of Ellen DeGeneres, I think that she is closer connected to my biological families than through her great-grandmother. And it seemed to be the case that many times your not biological family is placed further out in the family tree than your biological family. And the reason for this might be that some people are used as sperm or egg donors to a lot of people, and then this one man or this one woman cannot be the parent of all these people. However, I am pretty sure that my biological father would love to be my official father if he got the opportunity to be my official father, but they want to hurt him as much as fucking possible, and therefore they do not give him the possibility to be my official father. The system is evil as pure fuck. And with that said, my biological father is probably not used as a sperm donor for a lot of people, because they do not want to produce a lot of smart and sensitive people like my father, because that is a threat to their criminal and evil system. So I have said earlier in this video that something happened a little more than 20 years ago, because there is a lot of celebrities which is a little more than 20 years old. A little more than 20 years ago was the year we went into the year 2000. Elin-Madeleine is a Norwegian celebrity which is assumed to be my biological cousin or my biological third cousin, and she has the same front name Ellen as Ellen DeGeneres. Elin-Madeleine is a little bit more than 20 years old, and she was born in the year 2000. In Porsgrunn, which is the town where I grew up, we have an industrial area which is dedicated to the last name Enger, which I have been talking about in this video. And by that I mean that the name of this industrial area is Enger.